meet Andy in the next round.
So they're selecting the right stage. That's quite important.
Yeah, so we're starting off here with Metal Man stage. Metal Man stage is an incredibly difficult stage. It's heavy in RNG, and a lot of damage boosting goes on in this stage, which is required to kind of get there at the end. So this is a very risky stage, especially to start off. We've had a lot of deaths in this first stage in the tournament, so it'll be interesting to see how much aggression these runners take in terms of how many damage boosts they get, especially concerning the mole patterns that they're receiving right now. It looks like both of them getting pretty favorable mole patterns. 4 health coming out by HARDselection, crazyapeboy having about 8. So both looking really good on health, so hopefully no deaths. HARDselection also gaining a health drop there, so both of them having enough health to get to the end and fight the boss. And crazyapeboy taking a quick early lead with HARDselection struggling to slide in front of that Met Hat right there. So we're going to see the first glitch of the game coming up here on the Metal Man fight. You're able to manipulate Metal Man's movement in order to clip him into the wall on the left. This will allow the runners to kill him more quickly and have to, basically keep him from attacking, which is makes the fight about 3 seconds faster, I believe. Looks pretty cool, and runners are basically synced up right here going into Metal Man. Metal Man's ability is really useful throughout the run. It's very powerful, similar to in Mega Man 2 on the NES. Oh, and HARDselection going with the right clip into the wall. Kind of cool. Looked like it was intentional as well. And so, I'm not sure. I don't see that very often, but taking a little bit, maybe a couple second deficit to crazyapeboy. Pretty solid start for both these runners.
Yeah, that has like 2 positions or 3 positions that you can clip them in. Left top and right top, depending on how the left or the right on the endpoint when you slide backwards.
Absolutely,
and the moment he clips.
It's very uncommon to have seen the right clip there. The traditional clip that most runners do is clipping him into the left wall. So kind of cool to see HARDselection mixing things up. And here you'll see the power of the Metal Blade. It cuts through a lot of these enemies very quickly, and we'll be using this for a lot of different parts of the the run from here forward. Also, it goes through enemies, so it can continue forward hitting other enemies. It's a very efficient weapon. Here we're going to see a very specific damage boost through the dog there, and crazyapeboy taking additional damage, which means he cannot do the top route. Oh, he's going to go top route anyways. A little low on health to do this. This is very risky. Getting a very lucky health drop there. So HARDselection getting to catch up a little bit by not messing up that damage boost, but crazyapeboy, by getting that health drop, you can see he has 1 health. He would not have been able to do that. Maybe he was considering slowing down and killing enemies. He did not have enough health to do that optimally, but got a little bit of luck on his side, but HARDselection with a little bit better execution, taking a slight lead over him now as they head into the Woodman fight. And here, the Metal Blade just cutting through these, chickens, bunnies. Lots of woodland creatures are not faring well with the Metal Blade.
They are synced up, so it's quite interesting what kind of traditional glitch they are trying out. No. They're doing the normal battle with the Guddle Bear.
The Guddle Bear?
Yeah, I call him the Cuddle Bear.
The Cuddle Bear, oh wow.
He wants to hug the Metal Blades.
He does. I've never heard that. Well, Cuddle Bear's down, so both runners almost synced up. We got a real tight race here after 2 stages. Here we're going to be heading to the Airman stage, which adds the added danger that you can fall off of the level and instant die, so that can lose a significant amount of time in a race like this. But you're going to see some pretty interesting movement tech here. Obviously, sliding in this game is faster than running, so you've seen a lot of sliding up to this point, but we're also going to set up slides on these short platforms. You can see on crazyapeboy's screen, and HARDselection now doing it, doing some slides and boosting into the drills coming out of the enemy and being able to take damage and then boost through. And we're going to also see them... it'll be interesting to see their strategy. They need a small ammo refill in order to use this the Metal Blade coming up throughout the rest of the level. So they can either try and buster their way through and be safer, or they need to drop here. And it looks like they're both going for oh no, I'm sorry, not Metal Blade, but this wind cycle. So we see Hard Selection switching over to the Buster because he hasn't received it, and then immediately gets the small drop, of course, because the game is trolling him. But neither runner able to you know, I guess Crazy Ape Boy not having to do that menu over to the Buster, saving a little bit of optimal time here. You want to be able to shoot the windshield twice here. You'll see how quickly Airman goes down. And they are just very close here in time.
Ooh, the fast kill there.
Yeah, both of them getting really quick kills there. You cannot always necessarily guarantee that. It depends on the pattern of the little, I don't know, little tornadoes he throws at you, but both runners getting real quick kills, and I mean within a second of each other. This is real hype. A lot of run to go. Obviously, we're about 15 minutes from the end, 14 minutes from the end, so a lot of things to come that will differentiate these two really solid Mega Man 2 Game Boy runners. But as of now, within a second of each other, really executing well. A couple back and forths due to the Woodman stage, and other than that, like, both of them executing at a pretty high level here, which is always fun to see. No real mistakes outside of the damage boost for Crazy Ape Boy. And he got lucky. He got bailed out. I mean, I think Hard Selection would be a couple seconds ahead right now if Crazy Ape Boy had not been bailed out by that health drop. If not, way ahead, because Crazy Ape Boy could have died there. So really getting lucky.
Ooh,
and here we're seeing
Crazy
a different.
Ape Boy is not going for the E-Tank.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different E-Tanks in this run. Generally, you at least pick up two for the traditional route of speedrunning this game, because you want one for Needleman stage and one for the Dr. Wily fight. However, there's a lot of different options for how you want to route your E-Tanks, which ones you find easier, which ones you don't. I believe technically getting the Needleman one is faster than getting the one that Crazy Ape Boy got. However, a lot of runners select to get both E-Tanks in this stage, myself included, just out of a little bit of efficiency. The one in Needleman stage is a bit tougher to get, but it looks like we have a little differentiation here with Hard Selection grabbing it and Ape Boy not, right? Here we're going into one of the hardest fights and most technical fights in the game. Unfortunately, Clashman here takes more energy from the air fight than, wow, really good fight by Crazy, saving some time up there. But he takes more damage than the entire meter of the air buster there. So you have to shoot him with the buster once and then hit all of your shots, but also it's a very small, crowded area. Jumping over him is very difficult. You have to manipulate his pattern, and both of them taking pretty aggressive strats, but Crazy Ape Boy really pulling off a very aggressive strat, and really his run has been very aggressive up to this point. Taking top route, even though he hadn't done the proper damage boost and didn't have the health for it, he got bailed out by a health drop, and now here taking an even more aggressive strat than Hard Selection on the most difficult boss in the game, to be honest, and pulling it off.
The funny part is that Hard Selection is almost like sync with Crazy Ape Boy, but he still has an extra energy tank, so that's in his favor now. It's quite interesting to see that now. That's
a great point, Izzy. So due to the routing difference of deciding to grab that E-Tank, they're really pretty much synced up at this point. Crazy Ape Boy will have to sacrifice a few seconds coming up to get another one. And here, Hard Selection doing the proper strat of killing these magnets, whereas Crazy Ape Boy skipping them saves a little time to actually kill them properly, allowing you to not get pulled up into the sky and be able to slide a little bit more efficiently. Little small things like that. This game has been really highly optimized, and honestly, since we started this tournament, a lot has happened. World records have happened. A lot of people have joined the Sub-19 club, which was exclusive to one person until Andy joined it. And then, now that we've done this tournament, I believe we're at like 4 people, maybe 5 people. I'm not sure exactly. But both these runners, I believe around that mark of PBs below 19 minutes now. And you can see they've learned all these small little tricks and optimizations. There's some new ones that have been found. It's been really cool to see this tournament affect the run in a way that it's pushed it to a new limit. And you're seeing some of those little things shine through here as we're coming to the end of the tournament with these top runners competing. Both of them on incredibly good pace, way ahead of my PB. and just, you know, killing it here on their first race. Magnet is a fairly interesting fight. It can be scripted if you just kite his movements with your movements. And we're going to need enough health to do 1 damage boost, but all these runners have the health to do it, so that's great. No mistakes in Magnet Man.
From both of them.
Oh, yeah. Very early kills.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes Magnet Man, like the way I do this, he goes all the way up to the top right by the time I kill him in the scripted fight. But both runners getting the kill while he's still on the ground on the bottom right. And that involved really getting those shots in while taking that damage boost from a close range and kind of timing it with the iframes and doing a really good job of, I mean, just early work. We're talking about, you know, small time saves here, maybe a, you know, 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds between that and the way I do it. But these things add up over the course of the run, and that's why these runners are still in the tournament, and I'm not. And not the bees.
Oh, this is going quite well. What is your favorite stage, Melody Man? This is mine.
Yeah, well, this is a nice stage because it's a lot easier than the other stages. Now, we've found some optimal movement here, like both of these runners staying with Magnet here and not moving to the rush coil, as was the traditional world record strat in the past. But a lot of this level kind of feels like you get to take some time off after some pretty difficult levels. Flashman stage is a really hard fight, and Magnet stage has a lot of things you can lose time, so this is a lot more calm of a level, but it's less interesting at least. But I think most runners maybe enjoy getting a little bit of the break before the madness continues. So I don't know if that's why you like the stage, but that's why I like the stage.
The melody is like an extra element in the game, like going faster.
Yeah, the music in this game, some people do malign it, and crazyapeboy getting a much quicker kill than HARDselection. HARDselection having to menu over to the Buster, very close to getting hit. He would have been able to survive the hit, so that's okay, but definitely losing some time there. I'm not sure why he switched to the Buster. He must have plans for the magnet beam that he has left, you know, his magnet attack. That normally I don't use any more magnet to this point. He must have a strategy that he's going to use that he wanted to save those, willing to kind of sacrifice some of that time to switch over to the P-Buster. But crazyapeboy taking a couple more seconds lead here. Again, crazyapeboy still does have to get an additional E-Tank unless he's going super aggressive and is going to be able to only grab one. And here is the first stage we're going to see some clips, which are really cool. You're going to see some visually stunning out-of-bounds clips here, coming up with the hard knuckle that we have here. It's a bit broken. If you use it while on the same frame as transitioning from a screen, you can skip, as you saw there on crazyapeboy, skipping the screen in between the screens he was on and clipping all the way down there, saving a couple seconds. Here with the ladders, much easier to set up. The ones that you're doing while you're falling, failing the free one, however. The ones you do while you're falling are frame perfect. That means 1/60th of a second time you have to time it to hit them. Very difficult.
The last sip there, so that's a good thing for him.
Yeah, helping HARDselection catch up by getting the one that was free that crazyapeboy messed up, because the ladder ones are free. You can set them up and line them up before you do them. The falling ones are frame perfect. So crazyapeboy, kind of funny getting that frame perfect one and then missing one of the ladder clips, giving HARDselection a little time to catch up here. And going into the top man fight. These runners are still really close. This is going to be coming down to the wire for sure. And this fight, easy to mess up. You like this fight, Izzy?
It's quite one cycle.
Yeah, one cycle's free unless you're me and you make mistakes. Sometimes if you don't time it correctly, he'll deflect the hard knuckle back at you, which is terrible because you need the hard knuckle for clips, but also it also costs a whole nother cycle, which is additional probably 4 seconds or so, which you don't want. And here we are heading to.
2 seconds.
Yeah, I'll tell you my least favorite stage. Wow. It's here. It's Needleman stage. This is a toughie. A lot of just difficult movement here. A lot of easy places to not move efficiently. Like the movement here is incredibly difficult just due to the enemy patterns, all these needles shooting out at you, being able to time proper slides and proper rush jet setups. It's really easy to get out of rhythm and mess it up. These runners making it look a lot easier than it is. Even landing before these turrets and able to slide through them instead of taking damage before, that saves time. And You'll notice the jumping up and down. We didn't get to point that out in Metal Man stage or Magnet Man stage, but jumping up and down on Rush Jet means that it uses less of your Rush Jet energy. You want to save that for the Wily fight. You actually get no weapon refills here in the final 4 fights. So gotta preserve the Hard Knuckle, gotta preserve the Metal Blade, gotta preserve the your Rush Jet, and that adds up. And this new clip called the Elpis clip allows them to get remove a large part of RNG that used to really affect the run. You saw that they kind of got an invisible giant weapon refill, and that allows them to refill their Hard Knuckle for Wily stage clips and not have to rely on getting RNG drops to do that. Really awesome clip that Elpis discovered. He is in the winners bracket waiting for the winners of the losers bracket to face him, and removed a bit of an element of RNG from the run, which is always great to see. It allows you to really push the run to a higher level. Interesting, however, it looks like Crazy 8 Boy's going 1 E-Tank, isn't he? Is he? Unless I missed something.
He's going for most of the time 1 E-Tank.
Yeah,
in his run, what I know.
Yeah, so he's not losing that time back that he saved back on the Clash Man stage. In fact, he is going to be going in with...
Going for 1 E-Tank.
Yeah, and it's a risky strat, but traditionally you go into Wily with only needing 1 E-Tank. You use the E-Tank there on the Needleman stage, but with that clip also, Needleman stage a little bit less requiring runners to have that additional E-Tank. Both runners, I think, not using one there, so I think he's going to be okay, and that ended up being a nice risk for him, saving a couple of seconds off of hard selection back in Clash Man stage, but runner's still fairly synced up. Crazy 8 Boy being a little bit more aggressive than hard selection, even though, compared to me or a normal runner, hard selection still being very aggressive, right? But Crazy 8 Boy really being pretty aggressive, pushing this almost like a PB attempt rather than a race.
Most of the time you need 2 energy tanks only for Needle or...
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, you're cutting out a bit there, but yeah, normally you need 1 for Needle, 1 for at least want 1 for Needle and one for Wily. And hard selection, getting the frame perfect clip, taking a significant lead because of that. Not maybe a couple seconds. Wow. What you all saw there, this is hype. Like, hard selection just got 2 frame perfect hard knuckle clips through a large maze of Wily's dungeon here. Generally you can set them up to clip with the ladders for free. It skips a large section of the run, but being able to do those frame perfect ones while falling definitely saves a decent bit more time than the free setups. And as we see, hitting both of those, he's taken a good room lead over Crazy 8 Boy. Taking damage, on accident through the second one. Again, he has a second E-Tank, so he's safe in that regard. And yeah, Crazy 8 Boy aggressively taking it. Remember, he only has 1 E-Tank, which is an aggressive strategy. And so it's going to be interesting to see if he is able to aggressively play the Wily stage with the amount of health that he has. He's really hurting here. He gets set back almost half a stage. Unfortunately, wasn't
a swarm.
Yeah, unfortunately not willing to slow down for that worm, even though, he took some damage there using the Rush Jet strats, and unfortunately taking the death. He was right almost up to the checkpoint there. You get the checkpoint, so say if hard selection were to die now, hard selection would start at Wily fight. However, Crazy 8 Boy was 1 door away from that, and unfortunately taking damage with Rush Jet and then taking damage to that worm, he needed to slow down. He needed to have the game sense in that situation to realize where his health was at and either not take one of these crusher hits, slow down and shoot the worm, do something. Unfortunately, he didn't. And that aggressive play that had given him a bit of a lead throughout the run for most of this time has unfortunately taken him to a point where he is going to most likely lose this unless hard selection makes a real mistake here. So that's really unfortunate. Yep, and hard selection have, time for him on his end, about a 1916, I think 1916 or so on time. I don't know what the SRL official time is, or Speed Gaming TV official time is, but taking game 1, the real story behind this game, Crazy 8 Boy playing aggressive, really awesome to see, getting bailed out a few times because of it. He got a health drop on the top of Woodman stage that if he hadn't gotten, he may have been behind that whole race. Unfortunately, his luck of running out there, though, he took a couple of hits of damage on his trip to Wily with the Rush Jet and with those worms, and unfortunately needed to have the game sense to see where his health was at, understand he had done the risk of only having one E-Tank and slowing down in some way, and unfortunately, it caught up to him. If he could even have gotten through that door, you never know, maybe he could have done the Wily fight a little bit faster, getting to reset from the beginning, but coming in about a minute behind exactly with like a 2017 or so. So GG's, both great times. Unfortunately, game one going to hard selection, crazyapeboy squandering kind of that small lead there. That was exciting.
Yeah, GG on crazyapeboy.
Yeah, what did you think of that race?
Really race that's going out, man. Already a little bit predicted because the PBs are really close. So wow.
Absolutely. I mean, most of that race was basically neck and neck. We're talking a couple seconds here or there, right? In a 20-minute run, that's a very tight window of time. However, this really came down to aggression. Hard selection, doing a 2 E-Tank strat. Smart of him, that's the race safe thing. It's risky in sense that you're losing some time to crazyapeboy. However, it is a safer race strat. And crazyapeboy taking things very aggressively. He didn't get the damage boost properly through the dog and the woodman stage. However, generally when you don't get that, you go ahead, take the backup strat, the slower strat with Rush Marine. He didn't do that. He was boosting through standard, and he got a health drop. That was the only reason he was able to make it through there without at least slowing down and losing the same amount of time. crazyapeboy was pushing this run to the limit. He took things very aggressively. He got a lot of early kills. Hard selection slowing down, using the Buster to kill Hardman, for example. crazyapeboy was able to kill Magnet Man all the way on the right of the level. So his aggression was saving him time over hard selection, but ultimately doing the 1 E-Tank and he took damage to both Crushers on the way to Wily. He took an unintentional damage with the Rush Jet on the way to Wily, right at the end of the Wily stage, and I was thinking, he cannot intentionally take damage to this worm like you normally do. He only has 2 hits of damage. He tried to make the jump over it instead of killing it, and again, that aggression finally coming up to meet with him and killing him and sending him back halfway through the stage really, really caused him to lose that race.
Quite interesting if the crazyapeboy is going to change his strategy, because the energy tank that hard selection picked up is in his favor for sure now. I think if crazyapeboy took the energy tank, it was like a really closer race on the endpoint of Wily, because he could still use the energy tank. So I'm quite interested if he's going to pick up in this run the extra energy tank. So maybe it will help on the endpoint, but you never know. Needleman can be not helpful on the end if he's gonna kick you there on the end.
Yeah, I mean, they both did a great job with Needleman stage. That's the thing. crazyapeboy, like you said, it'll be interesting to see how his strategy is going into this second must-win race, right? Hard selection, a game in hand. But crazyapeboy, will he adjust his strategy or not? He pulled off the difficult part of his strategy. He got through Needleman stage without needing an E-Tank. And so going into Wily stage, I go into Wily stage with only 1 E-Tank on my PB runs, right? And I have, I have a probably 40-50 second worse PB than crazyapeboy. I was like, so he got through the difficult part, but unfortunately, he needed to do something of to be a little less aggressive. He took damage to both of those Crushers, which they do a lot of damage. He accidentally took damage with Rush Jet, and then once he got up to that point where he was going to enter the Wily fight, he really needed to shoot the worm enemy with his Buster and have a cleaner way of getting through there, but he unfortunately kind of didn't know what to do. He wasn't expecting to take that damage with when he was traveling with Rush Jet, and didn't have the game sense in the moment to realize that he needed to tap the brakes a bit. So him hitting the gas the whole run gave him the lead, up until those amazing clips by hard selection, but unfortunately, cost him the race. Hard selection, on the other hand, taking a little bit safer, but I mean, executing at a great level. Outside of that hard man fight. The hard man fight didn't go great for him. He switched over to the P-Buster and killed him a lot slower than crazyapeboy, but hitting those 2 frame perfect clips on Wily stage just had the lead stage here in the last stage, and was able to hold on to it. crazyapeboy maybe feeling the pressure, seeing that, watching him maybe in the window, ended up just the aggression was too much.
The race will going to start again, what I'm seeing.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to again. This is a best-of-3 format, so if HARDselection wins this, he will move on to face Sui, the world record holder in this game, in the losers bracket finals. So this is the losers bracket semifinals, meaning winner will take on an Andy, who is a great NES runner and Game Boy runner, and has the world record in this game. Was upset by Elpis, who is an amazing runner of this game as well. So a winner of this will face Andy to see who will face Elpis in the finals. Elpis will have the advantage of only needing to win 1 match of 3. The losers bracket, they will have to win basically 4 matches out of 6 in order to win. So it'll be interesting. I think Andy, as the world record holder, is definitely not going to take his loss lightly. So either winner of this is going to have, they're going to have their hands full with Andy, but HARDselection in the advantage here, probably going to continue playing it safe, I would think, considering he's got a game in hand. He knows if Crazy makes a big mistake, if he dies or pushes things too hard again, he's going to, have a win, whereas even if he loses this match, he's going to have a 3rd chance. So the pressure's on crazyapeboy here, and we'll see if that makes crazyapeboy play this as aggressively as he did the first match, or as you said, is he going to adjust his strategies? Is he going to get a second E-Tank? Is he going to maybe take a couple of these levels and strategies a little bit slower to make sure that he doesn't die? Because a death at this level of how good these runners are is so costly. This isn't racing me, where like you might be able to die and still win the race, right? I mean, these runners they're not going to let you survive a death, and so HARDselection
didn't have enough health bars there. Normally you need at least 5 to change from a different strategy that you first get a hit from his blade. So that's why he there by the blades.
Absolutely. As Izzy said, you take 4 damage to the body of every boss. Their projectiles only do 2 damage. However, to set up this trick, this clip of getting him stuck in the wall there, you need to basically take body damage. It's possible to take the metal blade damage instead, but it's very difficult to do. And, generally, like I said, that level is very high RNG. So the ability to have that 5 health is not really up to the runners. It's really up to the drops. And HARDselection kind of getting bad luck there. You have to damage boost a lot, ending up with only 4 health, not able to pull off getting hit by the metal blade, which is not surprising. It's very rare to pull that off. And, not losing a ton of time for a death, but man, crazyapeboy once again taking double damage to that dog, not doing the damage boost properly, is still again going to aggressively take top route, which he's going to have to take this slower than is intended. Yeah, this is, I'm telling you, this is risky.
Wow,
yeah, he had to take that end part slow.
He nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like, really doesn't save as much time when you have to take it the way he just did. Like, it's almost worth it just to do the Rush Marine strat, because the whole point of this is to be able to take it aggressively. And so, HARDselection gonna have to do the same thing, though. So neither runner really getting to...
Wow!
Neither runner really getting to optimally take this top route due to their execution. HARDselection actually having the health to go through and do it, making some mistakes. crazyapeboy, again, making the mistake. The key point of the level is damage boosting through that dog and only taking 1 hit. But unfortunately, HARDselection, because he wasn't able to do the boosting on the top that he's supposed to do, needed to hesitate there and not try and slide past that, that spike coming from the ceiling. Unfortunately, rushed it, probably frustrated with, being off of the execution path and taking a second death in the run. Now, luckily, the 2 deaths he's taken are very low-cost deaths compared to, as you saw in the first race, crazyapeboy taking a death right before Wily, losing several minutes, to having to go back half a stage. But still, crazyapeboy in a pretty significant lead up to this point because of those mistakes, maybe forcing a rubber match here.
HARDselection has a really fast kill of Woodman, so that's quite interesting. But one thing that should be also noticed, he only have, this is his last life, so if he dies now, he has to reset the level stage again.
Yeah, a great point. That's exactly what I was going to say. The issue is now hard selection's taken 2 unintentional deaths, which is not good because, again, he's down to 0 lives. If he game overs, you know, no matter where he dies, he won't go back to the checkpoint of that stage. He'll have to go back all the way to the beginning. And you obviously don't want that. Wow, Crazy Boy getting chased by one of those little birdies and doing a good job of staying ahead of it. And, you know, if he got knocked by that during a jump or something, could have had a very costly death. So really good game adjustment. But yeah, we don't hard selection. Now it's interesting if he dies in one of the, you know, last 4 stages coming up, it will refill all of his weapon energy. So he'll have, you know, full hard knuckle and other stuff. But I don't think that's going to help him. You know, he's already a pretty decent bit behind. He can't afford to take another death at this point. Crazy8boy not going to relinquish, you know, this kind of lead that easily. It's unlikely that a runner of Crazy8boy's caliber is going to take, you know, that costly of a death unless we see another issue in the Wily stage. This is Crazy8boy's run to lose here. Hard selection, unfortunately, taking 2 really unfortunate deaths. The first one really based on RNG. Bad luck. He did not get the health he needed to pull off the optimal strat in the first level, which is, again, a big level. We've seen people die in that level of all calibers throughout this race. It's really, you know, a heavy reset point in RTA attempts. You can't, you know, you have to take that level so aggressively and take so much damage. These runners unwilling to kind of let go of the gas and take it super safe. You know, it's just a risk all of us have taken in the tournament that you can die. But unfortunately, it was almost at the end of that Woodman, you know, the top part of Wood, and just needed to hesitate a little bit longer for a slide, hit the side of that spike, and that's the difference in this race. He's behind, and I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up, to be honest. It's going to take a big mistake from Crazy8boy to make up this probably minute lead at this point. Much different than the first race. The first race was within seconds, like most of the way through. Here we have a pretty sizable lead, you know, 7 minutes in. So a big difference. I believe they both finished Clashman within 3-4 seconds of each other last time. That's not going to be the case at this, you know, for this specific race. So interesting to see 2 very different races developing in front of us.
Did you saw that that Crazy8boy pick up the extra energy tank from the beginning, or because I missed that one?
I don't believe he did, but yeah, let's see when he menus here over to the Air Buster if he did. It would be interesting if he's watching Hard Selection's screen. It would make sense for him to grab an extra E-Tank, right? And I would think that his aggression, yes, he did pick up an extra one, and it makes sense. This is smart, and it's good to see Crazy8boy adjusting, especially after maybe not making the adjustments he needed the first match. Wow, really scary fight. You know, good job for Crazy8boy playing this really smart right now. I'm really proud of him because the first race, he was incredibly aggressive. He took everything at full tilt, and, you know, if he's watching the runner, again, you're allowed to watch the other runner and see where they're at. If he's seen that hard selection has died twice to this point, he needs to realize, I just need to avoid a very costly death. So picking up the extra E-Tank this time, which was a huge difference in the race last time, and then seeing that he was close to dying, going ahead, not being too aggressive and slowing down to get the kill. Look at this. He's still in a very sizable lead, so very smart of him to do that. And unfortunately, hard selection here, losing a little more time, missing some airbuster strats. Again, you have to hit every airbuster shot, or you need to menu back over to the buster, but doing a good job of cleaning it up for sure.
Really crazy fight there on the end point. I was scared, like, wow, one body hit or one clash bomb. I was like, yeah, he was dying there, but he nailed in a really good way in that particular one.
I find it interesting with how aggressive Crazy8boy is that he's not doing any strats here with the magnets. Maybe he just isn't very good at that strat. Maybe he's not comfortable doing it in a tournament setting. But you do lose a little time there not shooting the metal blades at those magnets. When they pull you up into the sky, you lose a little bit of time each time. And it's not too hard to time getting those shots out. So it's interesting to me that a level of his, a runner of his caliber is not doing that strat. Obviously not going to make too much of a difference here, but you know, you'll see hard selection doing that. Crazy8boy, again, really the story of the first match was over-aggression, in my opinion. He really did do a lot of aggressive strats and refused to slow down when it would have been safer and needed to be safer. But you know, this race probably won being on the pressure of being a game down. He knows he can't make a big mistake, but also being able to see hard selection screen. We don't know for sure if he's watching. I assume he is, and I bet he saw that hard selection died twice and has decided, okay, I can't make a big mistake. I'm going to go ahead and slow down in this Clash Man fight. I'm going to go ahead and grab the second E-Tank this time and learn my lesson from the first race. And I think it's going to force a rubber match because of that, which is really exciting.
That's going to for sure pick it up.
Yeah, because we're at a distance of time. Unlike the first race, we saw the first race to have a lead change in Wily's stage just due to amazing execution, hitting these frame perfect clips and stuff. But they don't save that much time. Hard selection, if hard selection hits all the frame perfect tricks here and crazyapeboy misses all of them, that's still not enough time for hard selection to make that time up. So it really is coming down to crazyapeboy just not making a mistake that causes him to lose this match, and he knows that. And it's good to see him, you know, as a competitor, being smart, slowing down, realizing he needs to take his time. He slowed down on the Clash Man fight. He slowed down to get a second E-Tank, and I think that's really going to, you know, put him in a situation where he's probably forcing a third match. Yeah, these runners really solidly pulling off execution on all these bosses, getting really optimal fights for a race setting for sure. A lot of these fights, a lot tighter windows for these cycles than you would believe, and even within those cycles, there's earlier and later kills, and they're all getting earlier
like
cycles.
35 seconds difference between them now, what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I think hard selection's caught up a little bit. You know, crazyapeboy did have a bit of a slower Clash fight, but so did hard selection. But ultimately, that's a lot of time with the runners of this skill. It's going to take a big mistake, like we said, but hard selection doing a really good job. It speaks a lot to say, I died twice in the first 2 levels, right? That's really frustrating and hard to deal with. To have died twice in the first 2 levels, it can really easy to get on tilt or to feel like, okay, this run's not mine. You know, I'm gonna have to win the third match. But he's doing a good job of keeping the pressure on crazyapeboy, saying, nope, if you make a mistake, I'm gonna go ahead and take this lead right back from you. And he's putting that pressure on him, right? crazyapeboy, there's places he could die that will give hard selection back the lead. If he dies in this, you know, a later spot in Wily like he did the first race, or if he dies in Needle at a certain spot, which is easy to do, you know, he can take this lead back. And so he's doing a really good job of gathering himself, gathering his wiles, and saying, okay, you know, I got bad RNG in the first stage. I made a mistake in the second stage. I'm not going to let one mistake in the run, you know, cause me to just lose my cool. And he's still executing at a high level, which is really great. Here, top man stage, we're going to start seeing maybe some situations for hard selection to catch up time, too. Remember, hard selection hit 3 frame perfect clips in his first race, which is a ridiculous amount for a race setting. Like, this is not, you know, an RTA run where he just happened to get, like, you know, good execution. That's a really good ability to, like, that he pulled those off. Will he be able to pull those off again and catch up a little time from crazyapeboy? Losing a little execution time just even getting in the portal, though. But let's see. It'll be interesting to see. You know, crazyapeboy did not get the frame perfect to start this off. That could be some time saved for hard selection. You know, we've got a couple of points where hard selection can catch up still a little bit more of that time. And again, he can keep that pressure on crazyapeboy to say, hey, you make a mistake on Wily and die. You make a mistake, you know, running out of hard knuckle, doing clips, you take a death and Needleman, and I'm right behind you. So this race is definitely not over, but it is crazyapeboy's to lose, and we'll see how crazyapeboy deals with that pressure. Probably seeing that hard selection, you know, keeping up. Hard selection, unfortunately, not getting the free clip again the second time. Very interesting, considering he's getting, you know, these literally 1 in 60th second clips.
Nice, 1 cycle, top man.
Solid right 1
there.
cycle.
Crazyapeboy.
And again, crazyapeboy coming back and putting the pressure on hard selection, not making mistakes. And when I say mistakes, I don't mean big deaths, but, you know, getting optimal cycles. He got an optimal cycle there on the Magnet Man. He got an optimal cycle there on Top Man. And he's not making these small mistakes that can catch up, you know, 5-6 seconds here or there. So it's really cool to see just him clutching it up and hard selection saying, you know what, I'm gonna keep pace. I'm keeping behind you. You need to keep doing this, Crazy 8 Boy, if you wanna force a game 3. And so far, Crazy 8 Boy's up to the task. So really exciting to see. And I love seeing third matches. So I'm probably rooting for that a little bit. I don't know about you, but we had a lot of 2-0 matches this tournament. But these later rounds are turning into 2-1. Hard selection beat Mr. MKL, who is a really good runner, an old school runner of this game. Ran it before any of these clips were found. He just beat him 2-1. So we're starting to see more tight matches as these runners are much closer to each other in skill. And let's see another match 3. I want to see it.
Selection is pulling up the time back. It's like now difference of 20.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job.
Yeah, he's picking it up again.
And here we see the benefit of Crazy 8 Boy grabbing that second E-Tank and now not having to worry. You have to take a lot of damage from Needleman in order to kill him. You see, using the top attack, it's a spin on Mega Man's body. It's not a projectile, and so you have to get up on his body and spin. That's 4 damage each time. Didn't have enough health to do that cleanly, and if he'd done the one E-Tank strat, he would probably be in a little bit of trouble. So Crazy 8 Boy adjusting, like you had pointed out before the run started, adjusting to how race 1 went, and able to now still have an E-Tank going into Wily and not dying in Needle. He probably wouldn't be able to pull that off if he had done the one E-Tank strat. And now hard selection kind of, like you said, catching up, cutting little bits of time off, entering Needleman pretty quickly after Crazy 8 Boy. And he's, it's still Crazy 8 Boy's race to lose here, but it might take a little bit less of a major death or major issue for hard selection to catch up. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Whoa, there's like 20 seconds difference now?
Yeah. And that difference can be made up with a little bit less extreme circumstances, as I was saying. If, if Crazy 8 Boy dies early in the Wily fight even, that could cost the 20 seconds. If he, hard selection, losing a little time to Quint. Those Clash Bombs, it's a pretty tight window for where you want them to hit. They do a decent bit of damage to Quint, but unfortunately, missing that, and you have to wait for the explosion to finish happening. And so he didn't get either hit and lost a decent bit of time there to Crazy 8 Boy. Probably like a good 4 seconds, 3 seconds, which everything's adding up to this point. Hard selection, I think, was probably more like 45 seconds or a minute behind, at a certain point in this race, but it's chipped away a good 20 seconds and can at least keep Crazy 8 Boy from needing to, execute. But man, Crazy 8 Boy hitting the frame perfect trick on Wily stage, really helping save time. Again, obviously has enough hard knuckle due to the Elpis zip in Needleman stage to be able to pull off, all these Wily skips. These save the most time of any of the clips, probably like at least 30 seconds. You have to wind through a maze of ladders there, and ladders, as you know, moving up and down ladders in Mega Man is very slow. And so, here Crazy 8 Boy taking even more of a lead by hitting that hard selection. This run not hitting it, and having enough hard knuckle, but he should not go for this. Yeah. Smart.
Yeah.
He didn't have enough. He could have. You see right here, very strange part of Mega Man 2 Game Boy. You see hard selection had 2 pellets left of the hard knuckle. If he had gone for the frame perfect and missed it at the end there, might not have had enough. You say, why would it be might not? Do you not know how much energy it uses? And that's an interesting question. Sometimes it uses half values of these pellets. So sometimes when you have 2 pellets of it, it will let you use the hard knuckle. Sometimes it won't. And there's no way to know if you have enough there. So smart for him to go ahead and say, well, I'm not going to go for that. I have no chance of winning if I miss that because I have to wind through the ladder maze. But he's going to need Crazy 8 Boy to die to Wily at this point. And again, Crazy 8 Boy now having the E-Tank here, having plenty of health, he's probably going to be
using an energy tank because he only had 4 health bars there with hard selection. Plus, it's scary. He doesn't have any lives, so it's really time consuming.
Yes, absolutely. He cannot die. He cannot die. But really nice by Crazy 8 Boy there. Like we said, very aggressive the first match. Maybe not adjusting to the game scenarios enough to know what he should do or shouldn't do. And in this race, he's really adjusted from his mistakes in the first round. Played it a little safer once he knew he had the lead, and he went ahead and kept that safe lead going into Wily. Like you said, he could have started off with the Sakugarne there, that pogo stick weapon, with the 4 health and waited to maybe take 1 damage. But smart to know, hey, let's refill quickly.
Hey, boy, man.
Absolutely. Getting a 19:29, good time. Not as good as HARDselection's level, first race time, but didn't need to be because Crazy8boy knew he had that lead and was able to, tap the brakes. Still 12 seconds better than my PB, by the way. So shout outs to how good these runners are. We're facing a 3rd match. We got the rubber match coming up. I'm stoked about that because now it's coming down to 1 race to go on to the losers bracket finals. We're going to have 3 people left in this tournament after this next race. It's win or go home. And, HARDselection, will he recover from those 2 deaths in race 2? He, they basically just switched times, both, getting about a minute difference, 45-second difference. Really, really interesting first 2 races. I have no clue who's going to win this.
Heart monitor for these guys, man. I want to see the heartbeats of this. It's like going to be like the 3rd race.
Yeah, It's super amazing, like really awesome. Big props to Crazy8boy for having the ability to work under pressure there. He loses match 1. That puts him behind the 8 ball here. It puts HARDselection in a much more relaxed state where HARDselection says, I don't need to push things too hard. I'm going to do my thing. And if I win the whole thing. If not, we have a 3rd match. Crazy8boy, knowing it's lose or go home, doing a really good job of clutching it up, adjusting his strategies from round 1, which is hard to do. You go into a big race like this where you're, final 4 people in the tournament, and you might say, I'm going to stick with my strats no matter what. But, moving from getting 1 E-tank to 2 E-tanks, really smart. He went ahead and took a couple things slower, knowing he had the lead. And that just shows a difference in mindset from the first race. And because of that mindset, I think, was, forced this match 3. And really, he's shown the ability to probably, I don't know which has a faster PB, but he's shown the ability and the riskiness to be able to get the better time than HARDselection. So will HARDselection make mistakes and give Crazy8boy a lead again, or vice versa? Or are they going to be tight in a race and Crazy8boy, will he stay aggressive? Will he go back, will he go back to being aggressive? Will he stay more conservative? It's going to be interesting to see. We don't really know because of the nature of how early the deaths HARDselection had. It's hard for us to know if Crazy8boy adjusted his strategy because he lost match 1, or if he adjusted the strategy because he saw HARDselection died in Metalman stage and then in Woodman stage. So I'm interested to see, is he going to do 2 E-tanks or 1? Is he going to be as risky and possibly risk deaths like he did in round 1? We really don't know.
Yeah, most of the time we see difference between the leading between man stage and then it changed later on in the crash stage or in the top man stage, because there Sips and Wily is also changing the leading point from the runners.
Yeah, I'm rooting for a run more like the first one. I mean, we did have a switch at Wily, which is exciting. I mean, it was so close. It was within several seconds going into Wily, so much so that HARDselection just hitting 1 frame perfect trick, which saved, 3-4 seconds, switched the lead so that HARDselection took the lead in Wily stage. I want to see one more like that. I don't want to see either of these runners make a large mistake or get bad RNG in Metalman stage as HARDselection got last round and, be in a 45-second deficit. Let's see this thing go down to the wire. Let's see it within a few seconds like we did race 1. And, this person's going to be, the third, at least the 3rd place finisher in this tournament. Loser's going to be the, 4th place finisher. So really cool. The pedestal's on the line here and possibilities to go to the finals and face Elpis. So this is what you ask for, right? I mean, this is what makes tournaments fun. Like, it doesn't matter which one's PB is better. It doesn't matter which one is more risky or less risky. Whoever wins this match is still in the tournament, and whoever isn't is done, right? And the person who wins this match could win the whole tournament. They still have that puncher's chance. I know their PBs are a little bit less, crazy good as Andy and Elpis, but they still have very good PBs, and anything can happen in a tournament. So really exciting rubber match. This is what we ask for. We don't want to see 2-0 wins, and I don't know what's gonna happen. I really have no idea who's gonna win this, which is what you ask for, right? You want that exciting thing. You don't want to know who's winning going into the tournament, and I don't know. I'm thinking Crazy Ape Boy, like, in my opinion, has the advantage here. It seems like his execution's been a bit more aggressive and cleaner, and so that he's been able to finish a lot of the bosses a little bit earlier than Hard Selection. He's been able to do a bit more aggressive strats, but Hard Selection also seems to have this ability to hit the frame perfect tricks pretty often. He hit 3 of them in the first race, so I don't know. It's gonna be tight. It's either one of these runners, race to win, and I'm excited to see what happens. I'm really rooting for no death in Metal Man. That's what we want to see. Like we said in the first race, Metal Man first stage, you have to take a lot of intentional damage in this stage, and unfortunately, there's RNG to that. You need a certain amount of health to do the optimal boss fight, and so Hard Selection last race really just starting off on a bad foot by not getting that health, taking the damage boost and not getting any drops. And so, like, I'm really rooting for neither of them to be put in that situation. I want this to come down to execution and skill and see what happens. So, no deaths, please. Crossing my fingers. Let's see how their mole patterns are going. Crazy Ape Boy getting a really good one at the beginning. Hard Selection doing a good job of slowing down due to the one he got. And I think we're going to be good. We're good on health for these runners. They should not take a death on this stage. In my opinion, at this point, it would not be RNG. It would be their execution if they did. Both of them having enough health. Oh, wow. And Crazy Ape Boy getting...
Crazy Boy, yeah.
Getting a big health drop is a huge advantage in Metal Man stage, because now he can go ahead and boost through all of these, I don't know what they are, gestures that are running on clowns. Ooh! And then Hard Selection taking damage that he did not need to take. And now he's back down to that very dangerous 4 health, needing a drop again. And that was execution on his part. He should not have taken that damage, and he could be put in the same situation he was. He has one more enemy to kill. Oh, Crazy Ape Boy getting the... Hard Selection we might be not getting what we wished for. Let's see if Hard Selection can either do the standard strat, which would be faster than dying, or if he can get hit by this metal blade. But Crazy Ape Boy being able to do a lot
for the fast, still the glitch.
Oh, yeah, unfortunate. No. Again, not a huge time loss, but that puts Crazy Ape Boy in the driver's seat again, and I think Crazy Ape Boy showed getting an early lead worked very well for him last time. It seemed like he was, probably a bit more calm, a bit more able to take the race strats, more conservatively, and it ended up with a win. And this match starting off looking a lot like match 2, basically exactly the same. Crazy Ape Boy getting lucky with a big energy drop, which allowed him to boost through more enemies than you even would with normal strat. And Hard Selection, he shouldn't have taken damage to the Met hat there. That is on Hard Selection. That's not an RNG thing. He had 6 pellets of health. That's enough for him to have pulled that off. He took damage to a part where he should have gotten the timing properly and killed the Met hat. Unfortunately, he messed that up, I believe, both runs, and so, put himself in this situation. A really simple strat, a really small thing that most runners have done a million times, but making that mistake, costly. And Crazy Ape Boy, for the first time in this race, actually getting taking 1 hit of damage instead of 2, and yeah, because of that, able to actually take this aggressively and properly, and that you can see just the level of confidence it allows you going into it, right? I mean, when you know that you have less health than you're supposed to, you have to be like, where am I going to save the health? Am I going to skip this crusher? Am I going to slow down here? And it just changes the whole timing. So for the first time, being able to see Crazy Ape Boy execute that was nice. And he's starting off getting shot out of cannon here. I think, it's looking like his race to lose, but there's a lot of race left. Crazy Hard Selection still able to pull off the top strat here in Woodman stage. A little bit slower, but still saving time over Rush Marine strat. And, only a couple screens behind Crazy Ape Boy. Not a crazy lead, but, at least not taking the death he did last time. That was a costly one, and he'll be a little bit closer than he was race 2. But is it going to be, is he going to be within range enough that Crazy Ape Boy, who's kind of gaining in confidence, he's gaining the momentum in this race. After Hard Selection died in Metal and Woodman stage in round 2, Crazy Ape Boy's kind of taken the reins of this race and, been able to be more comfortable, it seems like, with his strategies and execution, and it worked well for him round 1. So maybe he's going to continue this confidence and finish it out. But anybody can make a mistake at any time, right? So
yeah.
Let's see. This is also a stage. If you fall, or you take it very aggressively and don't have enough leaf shield for Airman, you can lose a decent chunk of time. I don't foresee either runner doing that. I think Crazy8boy should use Buster strats on the first. I don't know what the wind guys are called. Do you know what they're called? I have no idea. But
the wind guys. Oh
yeah,
I don't know.
The wind guys. He should use. He's not using Buster here, but he will have to switch to the P Buster if he doesn't get a drop, which he has not gotten yet. He'll probably try 1 or 2 more. Yeah. Again,
the bird, man.
Again, getting this.
He's getting hunted by that.
Oh, did he get a drop?
He run.
Oh, he got a drop. Okay, he's good to go. But I have never seen that happen once, and it happened both races for Crazy8boy. So huge props to him for having the calmness to let it get close enough that the leaf shield will damage it, and he didn't have to use additional leaf shield. That's terrifying, because if he gotten hit by that, he's falling off the stage, and he's losing a lot of time. So props to him for adjusting to that twice. Never seen it happen. I don't know how he got it to happen twice, but good job adjusting. Maybe he's used to it. I don't know. And I didn't see where he got the drop. He must have gotten it from one of the Cloud guys, because he had enough. I didn't think he did, but, you know, going ahead, not ever having to waste the time to switch to the Buster. It's a strat that, you know, you run for in our RTA. If you want to be able to never switch over to the P Buster because you ran out of Leaf Shield and need it for the boss, it saves a decent bit of time. A little bit quicker of a kill from HARDselection, however, there. Sliding into Airman and getting that kill a bit faster. Crazy8boy was taking it safe and waited a bit, you know, probably an extra second and a half. Not a big deal, but again, this is, you know, every little bit counts for HARDselection to try and catch up at this point. How do you feel like these clash fights are going to go? They've been pretty aggressive. They're really good at that fight, and it's the hardest in the game.
Yeah. Oh, they're doing pretty well with Clash, man, the fights. If I see, the only ones like in the second race of Crazy8boy, my heart was like, oh, one body hit, one crash hit, is totally a bad thing to happen.
Absolutely, it's a scary fight. It's really difficult, and taking it a bit more aggressive than a lot of runners have in this tournament, because these runners are so good at this game. They've optimized everything. They're good enough at the point where they're willing to take, you know, the RTA kind of strat for Clashman and put it into a fight. And that's a really amazing thing to be able to execute. But it's also scary, because if you make one mistake, you could die. Both of them have made mistakes where they had to adjust over to the Buster and such, but have done a really good job of managing that fight, and still in those instances doing it quicker than most of us would. So, you know, there's very safe ways of taking that fight that, you know, lose a decent chunk of time. We're talking 6-7 seconds probably, and they've been really good to at least push that time down and then be willing to adjust as is. Crazy8boy, again, we didn't get to see if his strategy changed because of no deaths or not, but going ahead, ooh, that is going to make this a race. These runners are tied up, but you've got to realize Crazy8boy maybe a second or two ahead, but does not have the air buster anymore. He's going to have to mostly buster this boss fight, and unfortunately, the way he's kiting the boss, like, he's not taking damage from the Clash Bombs. Instead, he's taking damage from Clashman's body. And the issue with that is that it does 4 damage and not 2. He took too many of those hits, and unfortunately, because of that, is going to be yielding the lead. So we got our wish. It wasn't decided by Metal Man here.
He knows he still have an air weapon.
Yeah, he did still have some. I don't know if he just didn't feel comfortable with how much he had versus how much he needed to use or what, but he did a good job.
Changed to HARDselection now.
Yeah, absolutely. He did a great job of adjusting to Buster strats there. Most of us have not done many Buster strats against Clashman. Usually when you mess that up, that's a reset. So he's probably practiced that, which is really nice. But we're talking about maybe a, let's see, 6-second lead for HARDselection now, which is not very big, obviously. This race is anybody's race to win, but just really interesting to see HARDselection able to get back into this race and possibly keep in this tournament due to that death on Clashman. Crazy8boy really not, you know, directing the fight properly enough to take the damage from the Clash Bombs instead of Clashman's body. It took too many hits, and now here we are, final 4 you know, bosses of the stage, and it's anybody's race again. You know, this is now a situation where you get the frame perfect trick, or you execute better on a boss, and you can have a lead change. So we're getting what we looked for here. We're getting what we wished for. We a little bit more we didn't want either runner to die, but with both of them dying, they've kind of canceled each other out. Both of them dying to a boss fight, and now we've got, you know, Hard Selection able to maybe, you know, take the lead here. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. And
which one of them has a better PB?
Energy tank. Hard Selection has a better PB in the run, and crazyapeboy the second.
Okay, it's both of them. Yes, both of them going confirmed for the double E-tank strat. So crazyapeboy, again, we'll never know until we interview him if that was adjustment he intended to make or he made it each time because he saw Hard Selection die. But you know. Yeah. Really cool story of Hard Selection. He came into this tournament the 13 seed out of 22 people, 21 people. So, like, he was not supposed to be to this point. I mean, I was the 6th seed. He was the 13 seed. His PB's now, like, 50 seconds faster than mine. So it's been really cool to see him develop that quickly in this game. And possibly he could be forcing his way into the final 3. Check.
Selection have 19-1.
Okay, so he's 39 seconds.
19-2.
Okay, so neither of them with the sub-19. I was wrong about that earlier. I apologize. But both of them definitely capable of getting the sub-19, and I believe will, because they seem both set on it. You know, Hard Selection had probably, like, that means a 22, 23-minute PB going into this tournament, and now is, you know, a top 5 time with that low 19. You know, we could see a 13 seed going to the losers bracket finals, and who knows, maybe he'll have what it takes to upset Endy. But crazyapeboy still has something to say about that. It's only a few seconds difference. Here we get to go into a little bit calmer stage here. Me and Izzy's favorite stage, some dope music, and the bees. Not the bees, right? You don't want those bees. But yeah, this stage getting a little calm before the storm. So what are you looking forward to seeing here? We've got Top Man, we've got Needle Man, we got Wily stage. What do you foresee possibly happening? What do you think we have to look for? Like, are the clips going to make the difference? Is it going to be boss fights? Is it going to be deaths? You know, what do you think?
I think it's going to be in Top Man stage, because that one is like chips there. Most of the time, one of them, most of the time the first one or the last letter zip, because of not putting up the setup perfectly.
Absolutely, yeah. I
mean,
a
couple of them already 3 chips in one time. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. Hard Selection's hit like multiple frame perfect tricks, but also Hard Selection has messed up one of the free ladder clips both runs, right? So like you said, there's time to be saved and lost in that stage. And oh wow, Hard Selection using the E-Tank, being a little bit afraid of dying to Hardman and using his E-Tank early. I don't know if he's going to grab an extra one in Top Man. I don't know what his plan is here, but they are basically exactly synced up right now. But Hard Selection now at a big disadvantage having used that E-Tank. I'm surprised, even when you mess up that fight, which he's messed up multiple times, you're not really at risk of dying if you understand where he lands in ground pounds. And so, you know, he just needed to step to the side and go ahead and buster him like he did, but was scared of, you know, losing it all and maybe making the wrong decision there, in my opinion, using that E-Tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just if you're here in Speed Gaming chat, first of all, thanks for hanging out. This is the Mega Man 2 Game Boy Tournament that I've been organizing and that all these great people like Izzy have been helping me manage and set up. And we're down to our final 4 racers here. This is the losers bracket semifinals. Winner will go ahead and face
Hard Selection got again the zip. What I thought.
Let's see if he messes up this one that he this second one here that he's messed up a few times. No, he didn't. Wow, he got it like as he was falling. Goodness sakes, Hard Selection. What a player. But if you're new to this tournament or you're just tuning in, this is down to the final 4 racers. Winner of this goes on to the losers bracket finals. This format is best of 3, and we've had each runner win a match. This last match, unfortunately, both runners not executing at some certain points as well, so they both died, but they're both very close to each other. Hard Selection may be making up some of that time that he's maybe going to lose by using that E-Tank early. I'm really still disturbed by his decision to just not step to the side and risk dying to Hardman, because he shouldn't die to Hardman. It's a very scripted fight, and even if Hardman hits the ground, he could just execute and kill him with the P-Buster. He wasn't going to die. And so wasting that E-Tank, just a really interesting decision, a panic decision in my opinion. But again, HARDselection hitting these frame-perfect tricks like they're nothing, and saving time on crazyapeboy, man. His top man stage, I tell you, like, he's been messing up the free ladder clip, but the ones that aren't free, like, he's just hitting them, like, left and right. I don't know how this guy does it, because this is a 1 in 60-second chance, you know, like a 1/60th second trick. It's an actual frame-perfect trick to hit those clips while falling. With the ladders, they're free. You can set them up, you can line them up before you do it, but while you're falling, it is frame-perfect. And he's hit, what, 5 of them, 6 of them in this matchup here? So, that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, I don't know... I don't know if I've seen anybody hit this many at this point. Is he going to get this E-Tank? No. HARDselection pushing forward, not getting this E-Tank, so he's going to have to probably take this a bit safe. Yeah, you're going to see him be taking this... Oh,
HARDselection missing the zip.
This is bad, so it's going to be interesting to see how HARDselection... I don't know why he's struggling with the ladder zips, but hitting the frame perfects, but... Now he can't get that refill. He's going to go ahead. I was wondering how he's going to adjust if he was going to get the big tank at... Oh, but he didn't switch to hard knuckles.
Hard knuckles. Oh my God.
We're seeing HARDselection make a bunch of mistakes under pressure here. I'll recap them real quick because I think both of these runners are going to be fine on top man stage. But this is a series of mistakes that's occurred. HARDselection used one of his 2 E-Tanks on Hard Man, which is a very free fight. It's one of the easier fights in the game. He's messed it up, I think, all 3 matches, but for some reason panicked, and instead of just finishing with the Buster, made sure he didn't take damage by using the E-Tank. Maybe worried he was within the hitbox of Hard Man and didn't want to die. So he's going to go ahead and have to take the needle stage a little bit slower because of that. And when he did that, he missed a free clip. He had 1 shot at it, but he should have taken a little bit more time to line it up with the ladder. Maybe the mistake from the E-Tank, you know, triggering that. And now he doesn't have hard knuckle he's going to have to get the hard knuckle refill in Wily stage. But then another mistake is he took a very slow strat. It would have been faster to honestly get it in the Wily stage, to fly up there and get it, but then he didn't switch over to hard knuckle to refill it. He ended up refilling his rush jet, which is not what he needed. I mean, it'll help him. It's nice to have more rush jet, but ultimately, I don't know if he clammed up, he forgot to menu, he moved too quickly, but HARDselection, you know, had taken that lead when crazyapeboy died to Clashman.
And don't forget, he only has 1 energy tank, so each damage is critical also for him.
Yeah. crazyapeboy, I mean, the difference in this race so far, this three-part race, is that crazyapeboy, when he's taken the lead, has been able to adjust his gameplay and mentally make the right decisions. In round 1, he did not, but in rounds... Ooh, got it as well. This might be crazyapeboy's race to lose at this point. You know, he's made the adjustments to do a couple things a little bit slower. He's always lined up his ladder zips. And, like, HARDselection's been really inconsistent in these races. He's been brilliant at times, hitting these frame-perfect tricks, but then...
he got the swag sipple, though.
He's so good. Why is he... See, this is the interesting thing. HARDselection has been incredibly inconsistent to this point. He's hitting these frame-perfect tricks at an alarming rate. He's hit 6 of them, maybe, in these 3 races, but then when it comes to simple things, the hard man fight, ladder zips that are able to be set up manually and are, you know, basically free, he's made mistakes. And as soon as he took that lead, it seems like maybe the pressure was getting to him. He felt like he had to keep that lead, and because of that has made some mistakes. And I mean, crazyapeboy should win this. It's not that big of a lead, but HARDselection, you know, with all the tricks he's hit, should be in a sizable lead. But the mistake of using the E-Tank, the mistake of, you know, for some reason using Rush Jet to go get the large refill, but then not, you know, switching to Hard Knuckle, he's in a weird spot here, and he's really put himself behind the 8 ball again. Let's see, crazyapeboy is real good at the Wily fight. We've seen him execute very well these previous fights, and he has an E-Tank. So, this is going to be probably crazyapeboy's race to lose, and HARDselection's going to be kicking himself. It'll be an interesting interview because I think he had this situation in hand, you know?
No. HARDselection. He had only 3 health bars left.
Ooh, Crazy Ape Boy messing up the Sakugarne strat. Better not. Yeah, he's not going to soft lock, but definitely getting a little anxious and jumping on that pogo stick early. It's not going to cost him, you know, the race, but oh, wow. I mean, Crazy Ape Boy really just showing, honestly, the difference in these 3 matches was kind of guts. Like, Crazy Ape Boy being able to gut out good execution when the pressure was on him, and hard selection, as soon as he took that lead in the 3rd race, started making mistakes in Magnet Man stage. And GG's to Crazy Ape Boy. I wouldn't say an upset. Their PBs are within 1 second of each other, so, but hard selection's going to be kicking themselves for finishing 4th in this tournament and not having the opportunity to move on to the losers bracket finals, because that was his race to lose, and he was hitting all the hard stuff. But when it came to the easy stuff, sorry about my alarm there. When it came to the easy stuff, he clammed up and he made some mistakes that he just couldn't overcome. I'm excited to have them on to talk to them. GG still to hard selection.
Also,
you know,
GG, man.
You know, huge shout outs to hard selection. Give him some love in chat. This guy was the 13 seed in this tournament. There are only 4 people left. He has upset a lot of people. He's improved his PB by a significant amount, and it was shocking that he was, you know, I mean, he made it way further than I did as the 3 seed. Sorry, I was the 3 seed in this tournament. He was the 16 seed. His PB is 39 seconds faster than mine now. So, like, to see his improvement across this tournament has been awesome. And it's unfortunate to see him kind of not give the race to Crazy Ape Boy, but to make mistakes in really key points at the end of that race. It's an unfortunate thing to see, but Crazy Ape Boy really, the story of that is just able to handle the pressure when he was taking leads, able to adjust his strategy, and he really clutched it out, losing the first race and then winning 2 in a row to go ahead and move on to face Endy. Let's see if we can get either of these racers in chat here. If it looks like they are set up to join in a second, and I've got some questions for them, so I'll probably ask some questions if that's okay, Izzy, and then you can hop in and ask a couple of whatever you're thinking, you know, and we can you know, hopefully there's, you know, there's positive vibes going on. It's easy to be a bit hard on yourself, you know. Hard selection knows that they had the opportunity to win this for sure, and kind of I wouldn't say choked it away, but definitely made mistakes they would not have liked to have made. So yeah, let's see, they're in setup now, so let's can we move them over? I can move them over. We're joined by Crazy Ape Boy and hard selection. GG's Crazy. Amazing races by the 3 of you. That was, we had no clue what was going to happen. A lot of interesting questions and things I have to talk about, but congrats, Crazy. How you feeling?
Thank you, man. I'm just glad it's over, man. That was way too intense.
But it's not over. That's
but
it's not over for you, bud. Yeah, I mean,
this race is over.
Yeah, your relief lasts only a fortnight, because then you're going to be facing Endy coming up probably sometime in the next week or so, and that's, nobody wants to face Endy in anything, any video game in the world. Like, Endy is unbelievable. The fact that he's in the losers bracket, like, you know, he's motivated, because you know
he's just
got world record.
Guns blazing. Guns
you know, yeah, he's you know, he's taken that to account. But that's the future. Talking about these races, I mean, really interesting, honestly. Like, the narrative behind these races, for me, like, I feel like the big thing is, what's the narrative? What's the story? This first race, you know, Crazy, you were very aggressive, like, to a point of a lot of risks, and you got bailed out a few times. You know, top of Woodman stage, you got a health drop. I'm not sure you would have survived it if not. You know, and you did really well, but pushing a lot of those fights to the limit eventually, you know, resulted in you unfortunately taking a little additional damage going into Wily, and you know, your brain didn't click that, okay, I shouldn't try this jump over the worm. I need to shoot it and slow down, use the E-Tank. But you also only had 1 E-Tank. I mean, you took very aggressive strats in Stage 1. My question for you is, did you take less aggressive strats in Stage 2 and Stage 3 because you saw hard selection died in Metal Man both times? Or was it a cognizant decision going into them beforehand that, hey, I'm going to take this a little bit safer. I took it too aggressive. I need to go to a 2 E-Tank strategy. Like, what was your reasoning there? Because there's no way for us to read your mind while it's happening.
Yeah, I was going a little more safer because of that death I took in round 1. So I thought, okay, I can't go that aggressive right now. Yeah, but I watch the stream usually to see what's going on, and yeah, I saw that I had a lead, so I thought, okay, let's go for that second E tank, because usually I don't even do that in races, but this time, because I took that def and because I knew I was in the lead, I was taking it.
Yeah, okay, so you had predetermined that you were going to kind of tap the brakes a little bit and not be so overly aggressive, which is, you know, we weren't sure. But obviously, once you've seen HARDselection die, you know, the pressure's on you round 2. So, like, HARDselection has the pressure a little bit off of him by winning round 1, right? He knows that this next race is not win or go home. For you, you know, I've got to win 2 races in a row. And once you got that lead, it looked like you did a really good job of slowing down in a couple of situations and saying, you know, I don't need to do the fastest cycle of this boss kill. I don't need to, you know, push this so hard. You did a couple of safer strats, and I think that it was really telling that you were able to adjust your game sense to that situation. So I think that's really the story of the whole thing. Now, my question to HARDselection is, do you know that frame perfect tricks are supposed to be difficult to pull off? Like, what the heck is going on? Like, do you know that the ladder ones are free? The ladder ones you can line up.
I know,
which apparently you don't know.
Apparently,
but the frame perfect ones, yeah, the frame perfect ones, you're just like, apparently that's not an issue for you. Just you like a fly? Does time move slower to you? So like 1/60th of a second's a lot slower for you than a normal person.
Slows down and then speeds up. So that's why I always mess up the ladder ones. So you know, it's So it slows down right for the frame perfect, and then I screw up all the easy stuff. Because,
it was interesting to see the things that like both of you kind of made a couple of the same mistakes in multiple races, like Crazy taking double damage to the dog and Woodman both times, you know, and you messed up some ladder zips that were important, that were free to line up, but like in between them you were just like falling through the levels, hitting these incredibly difficult to hit in RTA attempts, let alone, you know, in a race. And so it's just like, it was interesting.
For some reason my Wily zips have been like hot last couple of runs.
Absolutely.
And race 1, I just hit all 3 right in a row, and I was like, but then, you know, even though that was a great stage first half, you know, little mistakes adding up.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I do have to ask you about kind of one of the key parts of this whole thing turning around, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, Hardman, very easy fight that you struggled with a bunch, which is interesting. Again, you guys all, I'm not anybody in chat or anything. I'm like making fun or picking on you guys. You guys are
fine. You can do
way better than me.
It's deserved. You can just
But you know, the Hardman stage, the fight, you struggled with that a bit. But the third match, you know, why did you use the E-tank there? Because you didn't need to.
Oh yeah, so
knowing he hit the ground, were you worried you were in his hitbox?
Full disclosure, that was a total mistake. That was just a bad menu situation.
Oh no!
So I tried to quickly menu to Buster,
absolutely.
and then somehow I went the wrong direction. I don't know. So I got an extra input or something, and
because I was under the impression that perhaps you did it because you were worried you were in the hitbox of Hardman and you're going to take the death.
That was totally a mistake.
Yeah, because that really started an unraveling of events. Because now you have to take Needleman stage a lot safer. You didn't slow down to do the ladder clips and the Elpis zip. So now you couldn't refill your hard knuckle.
Well, so that was the other problem too. Yeah, so like I was gonna go for the Elpis zip, and then I just missed it.
Yeah, yeah. You only had one shot at it, but then you use Rush Jet to go up. I mean, I think honestly, I would recommend in that situation getting the Wily big enemy energy refill. But you went ahead and pulled out Rush Jet to go get it. But then you didn't menu to hard knuckle. So did you just kind of like panic, or what happened?
Yeah,
there?
I think I haven't had to do that in so long. So I think, like, in my brain, I was like, wait, what do I do now? Like I haven't missed the Elpis zip in like over a month. And so then I think in that moment I was like, what's the strat again? What's the backup strat?
Yeah, and you're like, what do I do it in Wily?
I forgot to switch to hard knuckle to get the extra refill and just like totally dropped the ball.
I mean, it's not like, and nobody's going to complain about more Rush Jet energy. It's definitely useful in Wily stage, but you were in under a situation where you needed that hard knuckle.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't even realize I'd made that mistake until I was at the Wily zip. And then I was like,
oh no.
I literally don't have any hard knuckle to do the zip.
Yeah, so you were able to at least get luckily there's a large energy refill right there.
Yeah.
Right. So like it could have been real tragic because you would have been going up and down ladders for a couple hours.
I felt like I redeemed myself slightly though with the last zip though.
Yeah,
so
you were again
so
like it was very manic. Like you were hitting some just amazing strategies. But did you feel a lot of pressure when you kind of took that lead back from Crazy Ape Boy when he died to Clashman?
I honestly like for the first game when I died twice, I was just like so rattled that like for the second game, I made the decision not to look at the stream. I was like, I know I'm already behind because I died in metal. I was like, I'm just going to focus on my run.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about Crazy Ape's. So I didn't even know that he died. I just assumed that I was just playing catch up. And I was just trying to focus on playing clean because I was just having little mistakes here and there.
Yeah, you took damage to that Met hat, Metal Man. Like you can't do that. You can't do it. You only had 6 health. I was like, and then I mean, to be fair though, that shouldn't be such a big mistake. Like you should at least get 1 health drop somewhere. But like, ultimately, you can't blame RNG in that situation because you had the health you needed.
I know. Well, so that was the worst part, right? Because I kind of got unlucky in round 2.
Yes.
I got no health, and then I remember there was actually a critical part in the first run. There was like there was a mole, and I was like, should I buster it? No, damage boost. And then I didn't have enough life, and I was like, so it was horrible because in that moment I was like, that was the critical mistake.
Yeah,
to like set the cascading effect through the full second run, and then the third run I was like, I got good health now, everything's great. And then the Met just popped up and smacked me in the face.
And meanwhile, what you don't get to see, Crazy Ape Boy gets a large health refill in the Met room, and like it's just good to go, boosting through everything. So, Crazy. What should have probably decided this race or made it very close and like, you maybe shouldn't be in the tournament and you could have been eliminated is the Clash Man fight. What happened, my dude?
Man, honestly, I don't know. It's like
you were unfortunately not taking, like you weren't kiting the fight in a way where you could take damage from the Clash Bombs and you were getting hit by his body a lot. Like they were barely soaring over your head. So that was tough, but you did a really good job, honestly, adjusting. And when you went like, most of us who do a lot of RTA attempts, like we don't ever do Clash Man with Buster, right? Like that's not a situation. Like that's a reset point, right? So like that's really the first really big reset point outside of Metal. But you did a really good job of going in there and like, have you practiced Buster strats on Clash Man because of that, or?
I practiced it a little. If I missed that one shot, so I never practiced the whole fight. Just that last 2 or 3 healths that he gets when you miss one of the air shots. So I don't know, I got very unlucky with that fight or did some stupid stuff, but then I kind of got a good Buster only fight, so that was okay.
Yeah, you did. You really got a nice clean Buster only fight, which is like a really easy way to panic because again, that's like a huge reset point in the in an RTA attempt, and he takes so many air shots that like using Buster is like not something many people practice. So really good job. Like you really, the story I feel like is
a question on that Crashman fight on Crazy Ape Boy. That you have ammunition?
So sorry, what?
I think you were cutting out there, Izzy.
If you still had air munition, did you know that?
Yeah, like I think I had 1 or 2 shots left. But I don't know. I was so into fighting that guy that I like it was in the back of my mind, but
it probably wouldn't have saved much time because of the menuing. So it's not bad that you stuck to that, but I think really the story, like Crazy, you did really adjust to pressure being put on you and adjusted your strats, adjusted your situations, hard selection kind of. Yeah, well, hard selection like just yo-yoing up and down because it's like you would overtake Crazy Ape Boy in these races by just like stringing together these frame perfect tricks, and then something else would happen. And so really exciting to watch. You both are awesome. You both had times in this race that are better than my PB. So GG's to that.
I really love the manic description of my play.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna use
he was very manic, but that's okay. that happens in races, and that happens to me all the time. But you came into this tournament the 13 seed, right? I was the 3 seed. Your PB is 39 seconds faster than me. So like huge props to hard selection. Like what is that like? Like what was your PB going into this tournament? 22 minutes, 23 minutes?
I think it was even like 24 minutes. I remember because I always wanted to start speedrunning Dr. Wild's Revenge. And so I was like interested in playing the Game Boy Mega Man games. I'd never played it before. And then for some reason, I don't remember how it came up, but I saw the invite for this tournament, and I was like, oh, all right, I guess I'm going to learn Mega Man Game Boy 2. And then I remember I had about a month before the tournament started, but I just kept procrastinating. And then I remember you actually messaged me like the day submissions were due, and you were like, I need a PB. And I was like, oh, crap. So I remember like that day I was like grinding the game for like my first couple of days and submitted like my very first like full run that wasn't total garbage. So it was like, I literally started, like, day 1 was, like, the first time I played it. So that's why I kind of started so far back in the seats.
So the point of this tournament was for me to show off how good at this game I am, and to face Andy in the finals, unless Tremaine joined, in which case I wouldn't. But now all of you just popped in, like, again, from no PB to 39 seconds faster than me. Just really cool to see, new strats, Elpis Sip, other stuff, and also just see all of you runners push your times down a ton. Do you have any last thoughts about the tournament or anything else you want to say before we unfortunately bid your underdog story adieu?
Yeah, I just want to say, thanks so much for putting this on, John Carls, and it's been super fun, and like, I love all you guys in the tournament. It's been really great to meet everybody. I feel like definitely some lasting friendships and good connections. So
lots of love
with all you guys, and big shout out to Speed Gaming too.
Heart emotes in the chat.
Yeah.
Also, I haven't said this yet. You probably should have plugged this a bit more, but please go follow these runners. Follow HARDselection. Follow crazyapeboy. They're really great runners. They do a lot of other stuff as well. So go give them follows. They deserve it. You saw how good they are at this game, and gave us some nice free entertainment. Last question, unless Izzy has something, is crazyapeboy. So you're in the final 3 now. So the 5th seed. So not hugely unexpected. Yeah, me and Mr. MKL. The old boys being passed by the young guns, but how do you feel going forward? Like, what are you thinking? You got to face Andy, world record holder in this game. Like, what are you thinking?
Well, I don't know. I'm very glad I got it. I got to this point. Top 3 is already huge. It's gonna be a rematch against Andy, so I kind of felt his rage once before. So,
he's not a fun person to match up against. If you don't know Andy, who was in chat earlier, being humble as he always is. I mean, so many NES world records, great Mega Man, classic Mega Runner, he is not somebody you want to face, and we all expected him to be in the finals. He's not going to let the fact that he got upset by making some mistakes and getting upset by Elpis, happen. So that's a scary matchup. Izzy's got some questions. Go ahead, shoot away.
Yeah, man. Dude, how to crazyapeboy? How do you get that? PP is always watching. That bird is hunting you in all the runs almost, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot imagine. Wow.
I've never seen that happen, and you had it happen twice, and you had the calm nerve. This is kind of part, a microcosm of what was so good about your runs, is you were adjusting to situations well in your second and third match. And, I've never seen that bird go so far right. And you were calm enough to wait to pull out your leaf shield, but if he bumps into you, you're dead, right? That's scary.
The thing is, I don't know what I do, but that bird is always haunting me.
Oh, so this is a normal thing for you.
I'm used to it.
So you've become friends with that bird. I've never seen that happen before, so when I saw that happening, I was very confused, but I guess good job making friends with the bird enough that he didn't kill you. Any other questions from you, Izzy?
No, man. I think this is a hype race. Yeah, it's still going on. Wow. I cannot imagine what's going to happen on the end.
Mm-hmm.
I know, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Any last thoughts so far before we finish things up, Crazy?
Just the usual thanks to everybody who's involved in this and to all the people who are watching.
Absolutely. Huge shout outs to Izzy for joining me here on commentary. Thanks, my man.
Yo, man, you also thanks for joining the competition.
Yeah, this was really a little bit last second panic. A little bit last second panic happened. I don't normally wake up this early, but I woke up and looked over at my phone and things weren't happening, and so here we are. But
yeah, thanks.
I think it was enjoyable. I got to watch some really good races, so I'm not upset. But shout outs to Speed Gaming for hosting this. We've got 2 more matches coming up. We've got the losers bracket finals, crazyapeboy versus Andy, that we've talked about a bunch of times. That'll be a best of 3, and then the winner of that will go to the overall finals. But the winner of the losers bracket will have to win 2 best of 3 matchups to move on. So they will have to win 4 games, whereas the Elpis will only have to win 2 games to win the whole thing. So that'll be really interesting to see. Hopefully we'll be able to hype that up a bit. We've talked about hopefully getting that, in a good slot for y'all to see. But keep an eye out for that. Definitely follow all the Speed Gaming channels. Thank you so much for them giving us this platform to show this game off that I'm passionate about and love to all these different people. It's been fun to see, a game that I loved and was really passionate about get taken from these great runners like HARDselection, crazyapeboy, Andy, Elpis, Izzy here, running away with the game and taking it to a whole new level. And that's really awesome to see because I'm passionate about this game. So, it's going to be an exciting end to the tournament. I would not miss these matches if I were you. They're going to be exciting. Crazy8boy is going to be fighting hard. You saw he's an aggressive player. He's going to be swinging for the fences against Andy, and then Elpis, you know, if Andy wins, he's going to be seeking revenge on Elpis, and if Crazy wins, you know, I think we got a close PB matchup between the two. So it's going to be fun to see. Definitely don't miss it. I don't think. Give these runners a follow. And I think that's it for us, unless you have any last thoughts, Izzy.
No, man. This is, yeah, waiting for the next race coming up.
Absolutely. So keep an eye out for that. I don't know what's up next in Speed Gaming, but, I mean, if you don't follow Speed Gaming 1 through 35 or whatever they are, you should go do it. There's lots of cool tournaments going on. There's always rando going on, so go give them a follow. So thanks so much for watching. We had a good showing here. Thanks for the 200 people in chat. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you show up for the losers finals and the winners finals, and we'll see you later. So bye.
GG 8boy.
Congrats to 8boy.
Thanks, guys.
Yo, man. You, bye.